After day 7 of planting, we were rained out for 3 days. Once things got dry enough to pick up rocks, I did that, and I scouted some beans. They're off to a good start. We didn't get too pounding of rains, but it was cold, damp, and things did not want to dry out very quickly. So we might be able to get back into the fields today. There's a chance of rain for tomorrow, but I tallied up where we're at. So we are 74% done with beans. We are 55% done with corn, which means we are 65% done overall. Now, the annoying thing is that the fields that we don't have done are the not as well drained farms, because we were pretty much only in farms that were fit to slight areas that weren't totally fit. So our ground that takes longer to dry out didn't even get to that point during the 6 days that we were able to be into the fields. But chance of rain tomorrow, and then it looks like chances of rain kind of most of the week, but next week looks really good. So feeling very optimistic and feeling like we're on really good track. Okay, we are trying the just working ripped ground with the turbo till twice. Not sure the ground's totally fit, but we're gonna give her a go anyway. Rocks and more rocks. Woo!
Like, being a farmer is a really hard job, right? It's like you're working like a lot of hours.
Okay, so we went ahead and planted this where the green's at. That's where we gotten rained out before. So JD just finished that field, but we were really hesitant about planting just because there were supposed to be cold rains coming, and that's just not ideal. As you can see from these beans, they're just yellow and they grow kind of slowly. It's just not great to like give them a shock when they're first planted, but we wanted to get that field finished up. And then JD was doing more tillage, and the 93 decided it just did not want to cooperate. He moved it to a new field and it just wouldn't come out of park. We had this issue a couple days before. We just shut the tractor off and turned it back on. It was fine, but then it was not fine at this time. So we had a John Deere tech come out, and luckily we thought it was going to be like a harness or something, but it was just a switch, housing, which is great. Huh.
It just has power coming in, and when it senses pressure, it completes a circuit. Well, it's shorted to ground.
Okay. And then they were able to just make it run by unhooking that switch. So JD worked ground for the rest of the evening, and we decided maybe we will plant because we were supposed to get a shower and then we didn't. Okay, it is 6:50 on a Wednesday, and I think we've been peer pressured into planting. Yesterday, our 9330 was down. We found out it has a bad switch. Our tech didn't have a switch with him, but he could get one today. So at some point we're gonna get a switch dropped off. They were able to make it run without it. Anyway, we were holding off on planting because we were supposed to get rain yesterday. We had a little bit of a sprinkle. JD worked ground, waited an hour or two, and then continued to work ground. And then the neighbors started doing some planting, other people started doing some planting. Then I was like sitting on my couch last night. My uncle's planting behind my house, and that makes you feel like you're doing the wrong thing. We're supposed to get a whole bunch of rain the rest of this week, but if it's like this last rain and we don't really get it, this is when we should be planting. So we're gonna maybe plant some corn, maybe plant some beans today. Now at the field that I purchased in December, I was driving over it picking up some rocks the other day. I really didn't like how cloddy it was. Now, Greg hasn't worked ground before, so he doesn't really know exactly what he's looking for. Had I seen what the ground looked like, I maybe would have just stopped and waited till it was more fit. But I didn't get over it until the day I started planting it. We were in a rush. The front headland looked great. I only got out the back headland and the corner, which is always wet. And then I was like kind of driving over the rest of the field. I didn't like how it looked. So we're done using the turbo till, pretty sure. Turbo till just does a really light minimum tillage. So I think we're gonna put it away and put on the packer and the field cultivator and hit it a second time. JD's fields are ready to be planted with corn, so I think we're gonna do that. And then maybe work my ground, plant my beans. It's supposed to rain at 6 p.m. tomorrow, so not sure how much else we're gonna get done, but I think this is the right call. It should be getting warm, so that will help with the rain. You just don't want to plant and then have a hard rain that'll like cover up the ground. It'll make a hard road on it, and then it's hard for those beans and corn plants to sprout up out of it. Also, if the ground's fit, you don't know when you're gonna have your window of opportunity. You'd hate to not be planting. Because you can always replant. Bex gives free replant. So also JD fixed my leaking hose. Which way do you go?
At some point during this unhooking and rehooking situation, I got a whole bunch of hydraulic fluid on this sweatshirt, which is annoying because I've washed it twice and there's still some stains on it. So I need to be more careful next time.
Dude, you should not have had your eggs right next to the machine shed. I'm sorry, bro. Well, lady. Dang it.
Okay, so this is the bean ground I want to rework where it's colored in, and that's where I have already planted the beans. In hindsight, this is like 2 weeks later. I wish I'd kind of just ripped them up and planted them all right then, just because they're not looking fantastic.
Planted. This is where we have not planted yet. I'm gonna just start over here. I don't know. Still looks kind of the same to me. I'd say in here it looks better, but maybe that just already looked better before. So clods and other clods. I mean, these clods look smaller than those clods. But this is the field. This is where it's planted. That's what I don't like, is seeing this string where the planting was, because that means you did not have good coverage over it. You should not be able to see that. So yeah, there's like this bean's just like here, just swelling up, not in any dirt. That's not what we want. If we continue to have rains, that'll help it for sure. Okay, so this side is definitely a lot more fit than over there. And to be fair, I was in kind of the worst parts of it. So, I mean, little clods. They're hard clods. They're not. I like to give it a few hours and then let it dry off before planting. I don't know. We have sweet potatoes and carrots. Yummy, yummy.
And while I was planting, I was also always looking to see what JD was up to with the corn, and he was getting along his fields very nicely.
At one point, I was keeping track of where the rocks were on this farm, but like, honestly, I just need to go up and down every single row. There's so much that there's no reason to even record where they're at this point. And And I am still waiting to get a wetlands determination on this little 2.5 acres of woods. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is a wetland, but still waiting on that determination. Apparently we only have like one guy in like covering a bunch of Ohio who does it. The way they determine a wetland is based on the soil, based on the trees and the native species. They kind of like look around, see what's going on, and then they tell you if you have a wetland or not. If you have a wetland, you obviously cannot destroy it. Technically, you can destroy it and then make a new wetland elsewhere. That seems like a lot of work. I would just leave it. Yeah. Personally, I like the woods. I think we should have more woods. We should have more trees. But I'm also not at a place financially in my life where I can just be like, oh yeah, I'll just have 2.5 acres of unproductive ground to my name. I have to attempt to make this farm profitable. So that's what we're looking at. You can see my rock pile. Lots and lots of rocks here. This is the last round of the field, which is good because I have a meeting at 4 and it's not 7:18. Do I have the time somewhere else? 3:12. So that will be just enough time to get everything packed up and back to the shop. Okay, back at the farm, had a meeting. Meeting went good. I'm not going to tell you about it because you never know. But I'll tell you about it later. Stay tuned. Later as in a while from now.
So now I will only have 2 more fields of beans to be planted. Neither of those fields are fit, so I'm going to work some corn ground. We decided that we liked the way that the turbo till was working on that ground, and it just goes faster. So then I hooked up the turbo till. Now, 2 weeks later, while I'm editing this, we have so many weeds. We're debating on just going back to the field cultivator because the field cultivator rips out the weeds and the turbo till just kind of cuts them up a little bit and doesn't work as effectively. And then I brought JD seed to the corn planter.
Okay, we are stuck on the road and it won't come out of park. Yay!
I tried the technique of just shutting the 9330 off and turning it back on to see if it would come out of park. It would not. Then by the time that I went and picked up JD and had him come to the field, not to the field, to the road, it decided to come out of park for him. So that's interesting. We put the new little switch on. Now, even with the switch being bad, it shouldn't have done this. But we had the techs out. They couldn't find anything wrong with it. There were 2 codes on the engine, but they were both in German, and it seemed to be working fine.
Okay, just responded to 3 emails and housed a frozen burrito with some sriracha and yogurt. And having a Bellevue sparkling water grapefruit. I don't know. It's the sparkling water that Aldi had. Someone commented on one of my videos the other day and said, you eat cheap dude food. And I like that.
Well, JD finished up planting the cornfield he was at. I did some office work, and then I took an empty seed box off of the corn seed tender. Now, I don't like the seed tender as much as the bean one. Just you have to use these long extensions, and you have to be very, very precise when you put these boxes on and off of the seed tender, but it works pretty well for corn, and you go through so much less seed. You don't have to be handling the boxes as often.
Okay, we have the seed tender put in here. Now I just need to put the bean planter away for the night.
It's the next morning. I decided to just turbo till the field that we had driven the 9332. This is going to corn. And then we're also supposed to get rain. So just kind of gonna do this till it starts raining.
I was just minding my business, working some ground with the turbo till, and we found this. So this is obviously a tile blowout, an old clay tile. Found some little flags in the tractor. We'll just put these all the way around it. Okay. Looking a little dark in the sky.
Now, as I am recording this, it is May 11th. We have been rained out of the fields for 10 days. We might possibly get back into the fields maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We got a lot of rain.